year 2023 is astonishing to me, and you answer that question without mentioning the word slavery.
What do you want me to say about slavery?
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering.
America!
Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to This Week in DUMBmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. It's the first show of 2024. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holiday, whatever you celebrated, whether it be Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or anything else that is out there. And, of course, a very, very Happy New Year and all the best for 2024.
Happy birthday, or whatever.
I certainly had a happy holiday. My family went to shop.buffoonoftheweek.com and picked up this awesome shirt for me, my Sick and Tired of Buffoon shirt, and also a little beverage cup with the People's Republic of New York City there. If you guys want to check them out, they're at shop.buffoonoftheweek.com. And now that we got the plug out of the way, we can get to a story from last year, obviously.
Dad joke, sorry. Can't help it.
Because not much is happening this year outside of the Epstein list, which is going to be released soon. And we're going to be talking about Nikki Haley and a little flub she had with a question concerning the Civil War. Specifically, what do you want me to say about slavery? We're going to get into all of that, but first, I need you guys to please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the shows, and if you like what you see and hear in this or any of the other videos on this here channel, smash that thumbs up button, like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff, because all of that feeds the old YouTube algorithm. And also, a quick reminder, we still have Buffoon of the Year stuff to do. You can still pick the Buffoon of the Year from all the finalists that we've been looking at the past few weeks. Check out the community tab. All the buffoons are listed there. You can tell me in the comments who your choice is for Buffoon of the Year.
We're gonna vote! Let's vote! Let's vote, and then we'll fight!
Now let's get to this whole Nikki Haley thing. At a town hall in New Hampshire, Nikki Haley was asked about the Civil War of all things, the causes behind it. Now, this is one of those attempts at a gotcha question, and Nikki Haley got here, because the real answer she should have given is, of course, slavery and then go into whatever you want to say, but she didn't handle it that way. Let's take a look at how she did handle it, and how that mistake on the campaign trail has caused people to go back in time to see other Nikki Haley responses to similar questions about the Civil War, the Confederacy, the Confederate flag, and all of that. And how this could be damaging Nikki Haley at a moment where she's seen her rise in popularity among the Republican field not named Donald Trump. So last week, when we were having fun with all the Buffoon of the Year stuff, Nikki Haley was campaigning up in New Hampshire, and this question was thrown at her from the crowd.
Please, what was the cause of the United States Civil War? It's a trap!
Now listen, when you're on the campaign trail, you should expect questions like this. Not everybody's going to want to talk about foreign policy or domestic policy or inflation or things affecting them currently. Sometimes they just want to know your perspective on things. Nikki Haley was the governor of South Carolina, so this question about the Civil War is probably pointed towards her for that reason.
And how did she respond?
Well, don't come with an easy question or anything. I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do.
Okay, not off to a good start.
Well, that's certainly an interesting start of an answer. She may get around to slavery. Let's see if she does.
What do you think the cause of the Civil War was?
Now, see, I like this move by Haley because she's trying to get the pulse of the person who posed the question. It's a good tactic, and I appreciate that she's trying to do that. But this guy is not giving an inch.
I'm sorry?
I'm not running for president. I want to see your view on the cause of the Civil War.
Now, that to me is a little suspect. This could be a plant in the crowd. It could be from another campaign, the other side of the aisle. Maybe this guy is a Democrat. I don't know. But it's certainly curious that he didn't take the bait of Nikki Haley's attempt to get the pulse of this person. It's very interesting cat and mouse game here. Now, Haley seeing this should talk about, well, slavery was one of the main causes of it, but also A, B, C, and D. At least that's what I would have done, and I think that's what a person on the campaign trail who is conscious of what answers should be would do. Again, this isn't being posed at a symposium or some sort of lecture. This is the campaign trail where everything you're saying is under a microscope. Let's see what Haley does.
I mean, I think it always comes down to the role of government. We need to have capitalism. We need to have economic freedom. We need to make sure that we do all things so that individuals have the liberties so that they can have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to do or be anything they want to be without government getting in the way.
Thank you. And in the year 2023, it's astonishing to me that you answer that question without mentioning the word slavery.
What do you want me to say about slavery? Next question.
That could have been better.
So you can take Nikki Haley's answer one of two ways. What do you want me to say about slavery? It's something that's abhorrent. I think we all know that. I think if you did a poll today, 100% of Americans would say slavery is wrong. Or at least I would hope that would be the answer to the poll. But you can also take that as saying, well, what do you want me to say about slavery? As in, what do you want me to say to appease you, to please you, voter, that I didn't say here? What do you want me to say about slavery in that I want to make sure that you walk away with a good feeling about me? Those are the two ways that you can take that response from Haley. And clearly, the press, her opponents, even Joe Biden have taken the negative way. And that all has to do with past statements from Nikki Haley concerning this general topic of the Civil War, slavery, and the Confederacy. Oh, sorry. Just drinking from my new People's Republic of New York City glass. Cheap plug, whatever. Nikki Haley was asked similar questions at an interview in 2010. This looks to be one of the sorts of interviews with a newspaper or other media in the area considering to endorse Nikki Haley for an office. I'm thinking maybe when she ran for governor of South Carolina, this could be an example of the sort of interview that you would get when you're trying to get an endorsement of a media outlet. And this exchange occurred during one of these interviews.
What's your belief about the reason the Civil War was fought?
It's literally the same question. Now, it gets me thinking, did the person who asked the question to Nikki Haley in 2023 know about this through opposition research? Did they know this because they are from South Carolina and other South Carolinians knew about this interview? It's a very interesting thing to me that it's basically the same exact question word for word.
I mean, again, I think that as we look in government, as we watch government, you have different sides, and I think that you see passions on different sides, and I don't think anyone does anything out of hate. I think what they do is they do things out of tradition and out of beliefs of what they believe is right. I think you had one side of the Civil War that was fighting for tradition, and I think you had another side of the Civil War that was fighting for change. You know, at the end of the day, what I think we need to remember is that, you know, everyone is supposed to have their rights. Everyone's supposed to be free. Everyone's supposed to have the same freedoms as anyone else. So, you know, I think it was tradition versus change is the way I see it.
Tradition versus change on what?
On individual rights and liberty of people.
You're still avoiding the big question.
Individual rights and liberties of people. Now, I may be reading tea leaves here, but that to me seems like an illusion that slavery is wrong by saying that the rights and liberties of people were at stake during the Civil War. She doesn't want to use the term slaves because she doesn't believe in slavery. That's one possible interpretation. The other possible interpretation is that she has an aversion to using the S word, to saying slavery. A third possibility is that she doesn't want to acknowledge that slavery was wrong. Again, that's reading a different type of tea leaf. It's all a matter of interpretation. Now, when you're running for president, you shouldn't leave things like this up for interpretation. And that's been a problem with Nikki Haley's responses to these questions. Now, there was a reference there to heritage. how the Confederate flag and how the Confederacy is a symbol of heritage. Now, that's a view that's been rejected recently again because we saw what happened with Confederate monuments being torn down, and we saw the canceling of the Confederacy and all the symbolism behind it in recent years. But if you go look to authority, to academic authority, there is this recognition that symbols like the Confederate flag are subject to perception, and in some cases, that perception can be a positive thing and have been throughout history. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. Okay, I know that some of you are going off right now thinking, oh, Gene's going to justify the Confederate flag. No, let me give you one of my disclaimers to cover my ass. What I'm saying right now is information that is published by the American Civil War Museum concerning the tainted and jaded history of the Confederate flag. I, for one, have my personal feelings about the Confederate flag. I'm not going to support it in any way, shape, or form. I'm a born and bred New Yorker. I don't support that symbology. It's not in me. It's not in my DNA. But I am going to discuss, honestly, what the American Civil War Museum says about this symbol, and let's have an honest discussion about it. Okay, disclaimer over. Let's get into this story. This is actually not a story, it's a posting from the American Civil War Museum from January of 2018. It comes along with its own YouTube video. I'll put a link in the description below so you can see this video itself. The truth about the Confederate flag, I don't think there is a truth about the Confederate flag. I think there are many truths about the Confederate flag. To some, it's heritage, not hate. To others, it is that it is a heritage of hate. Let's get into this article. A moment's reflection reveals that the heritage versus hate slogan war is a false dichotomy. There's no reason why the Confederate flag cannot stand for both heritage and hate, or stand for a myriad of things other than heritage or hate. The heritage versus hate equation also generalizes a single interpretation of the symbol's meaning to become its only meaning. That's to say that different strokes for different folks. Some people see a symbol and interpret it and internalize it their own way. A symbol derives meaning from its uses and the perceptions of those uses. In the 156 plus years since its introduction, the Confederate flag, or more accurately, Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia flag, has had many uses and acquired many different meanings. Understanding the complex history of the flag is essential for understanding the decades of debate about the flag today. Now, we can go through this entire article and we can see how it started out with the Northern Virginia Army. It became a symbol of the Confederacy. It then became a symbol for honoring Confederate veterans. And then it morphed into a symbol of hate again during segregation, and even took on a life of its own for Southern rock and roll. Think of Leonard Skinner and all that. And the symbol of the flag there, the Dukes of Hazzard and pop culture and all those things. It's taken on different meanings for different people. And I think that's what the article is trying to convey here. But most recently, it's become that symbol of hate again. But most recently, it was used as a symbol of hate by a mass murderer at the AME Church in South Carolina. And Nikki Haley spoke about this as well in the past. So this is an interview from 2019 when Nikki Haley reacting to the disgusting actions of Dylan Roof.
South Carolina fell to her knees when this happened. This is one of the oldest African American churches. These 12 people were amazing people. They loved their church, they loved their family, they loved their community. And here is this guy that comes out with his manifesto holding the Confederate flag and had just hijacked everything that people thought of. And we don't have hateful people in South Carolina. There's always
hijacking the symbolism of the flag that everybody thought it was. Well, see, this is Nikki Haley's mistake, because not everybody thinks the same way as South Carolinians concerning that symbolism. We just saw it in that article. It's differently interpreted by different people depending upon their perspective, their point of view, their own perception. This is Nikki Haley's mistake. She has held on to this singular perception from being in South Carolina, from serving in South Carolina, about what this flag means, what the Civil War means, what it was fought over. And she is not embracing a national perspective. That perspective of South Carolina may work in South Carolina, but it doesn't work on a national stage when you're looking to become the president of all the United States. And that means all of the mainstream symbolism, interpretations, and perceptions. This is a misstep by Haley. She is not just running to be the president of the South or the president of South Carolina or any single type of people. She fell into a trap that she shouldn't have fallen into. At this point in the race, we're in January now, 2024. We're getting ready to start voting soon. At this late stage, these missteps can really cost you. And Nikki Haley really allowed an unforced error here when it comes to her response to this particular question. Now, again, I don't know anything about the motive of the person who posed the question. I don't know if this was opposition research. I don't know if this was an attack from a candidacy, an attack from a political perspective, or just someone asking an honest question. But Nikki Haley should be ready for all those things, and her people should have prepped her on a mainstream answer to a question of such generality. In this day and age, it doesn't hurt to say that slavery is wrong, Nikki. Everyone can say that now, and it's not a controversial thing to say. But hey, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. In fact, let's make this the question of the day here. Let me know in the comments how you think Nikki Haley will be affected by this misstep, this unforced error concerning the causes of the Civil War. Is it much ado about nothing to you? Do you think it's going to hurt her in the long run in the polls? Do you think it's going to cause the downfall of Nikki Haley? Is this the end of her flavor of the month run? Let me know in the comments what you think about all that. And please, like, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. Let's restart some conversations in 2024 about these comments, about any other presidential candidates' comments, and all the other stuff that 2024 is going to offer us this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.